So this week, you guys sent in some stuff about friendship, and I got to say, it really got us thinking.
Absolutely.
We're going to dive into what makes friendships work. Those really strong connections, and maybe even more important. Those times when a friendship might be taking more than it's giving.
Right, exactly. It's so important to look at both sides of that coin,
It is.
The good and the bad.
Yeah. Well, the material we've got really gets down to the core of something we all deal with.
For sure.
In this deep dive, we're going to try to bring out those key insights.
Absolutely.
The stuff that can really help you, not just to have more friends.
Right.
But better friends.
Better friends, yeah.
More supportive ones.
Yeah.
And maybe even, how to steer clear of the ones that aren't good for us.
Absolutely. How to recognize those red flags and move away from those relationships that ultimately are detrimental.
Exactly. And the information covers it all.
It does. It really does.
You know why good friendships are so important?
Yeah.
The traits you see in really good friends. The warning signs.
Oh, yeah.
That maybe a friendship is toxic.
Right.
And some practical steps to build a better, group of friends.
A stronger, healthier friend circle. Absolutely.
So let's unpack something really basic first.
Okay.
Why are good friendships so important in the first place?
This material is really fascinating on this point.
Yeah?
It's not just about having someone to hang out with.
Right.
Although that's definitely, a big part of it.
It's nice.
The interesting thing is just how much our friendships affect some really important parts of our lives.
You mean beyond just feeling happy?
Yeah, beyond just, surface level happiness.
Right.
The source material really shows a strong connection between how good our friendships are and our mental health, our overall happiness, and even how long we live.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about it.
Choosing
your friends well isn't just about having fun socially. Right. It's like investing in your overall health and well-being.
That's a really powerful way to look at it.
I think so.
It really kind of changes your perspective.
Yeah, it reframes it.
So if these good friendships are so crucial,
yeah,
what are the things that make them up?
Okay.
What should we be looking for in the people we choose to have around us?
Well, the source material really highlights several key traits.
Okay.
I think the first and maybe the most important is loyalty.
Okay.
It's that feeling that someone's there for you.
Right.
Not just when things are good.
Right.
But especially when things are tough.
Yeah.
It's that unwavering support when you're going through hard times.
Yeah, that feeling that someone's really in your corner.
Exactly.
It's just irreplaceable.
It really is.
What else really stuck out to you as important?
Well, honesty is another big one.
Okay.
And it's not about just being blunt.
Right.
It's about a friend who will tell you the truth, even when it's hard.
Right.
Because they care about you.
Yeah.
It's about giving you that tough feedback, but doing it in a kind way.
Yeah, that kind of honest perspective, when it comes from a good place, can be so valuable.
It's invaluable.
For growing as a person.
For sure.
It's about someone seeing the real you.
Yeah.
And wanting what's best for you.
Exactly.
And then there's respect.
Yes.
The source material talks about respecting boundaries.
Boundaries are huge.
Time.
And values.
And values. This is about a basic level of consideration and acknowledging who you are and what matters to you.
Yeah.
A good friend understands and respects those boundaries.
It's like feeling like you're truly seen
and
valued for who you are.
Exactly.
Not pressured to be someone you're not.
Right.
And support also comes up a lot. Support's so important.
Yeah.
It's about having friends who not only listen to your dreams, but encourage you to go after them.
Right.
Giving you positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
And believing in you.
Yeah.
Instead of being negative or jealous.
Yeah.
That kind of supportive energy can really make you feel strong.
It's like having your own personal cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly.
And the source also talks about something.
Yeah.
That sometimes people don't think is so important.
What's that?
Fun.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
A really good friend is someone who brings joy and good energy into your life.
Absolutely. Shared laughter, good times together. Those are so important for building that connection.
Yeah.
And making good memories.
Yeah, it's that person you really look forward to hanging out with.
Exactly.
All of these things.
Yeah.
Feel like things we can actually think about.
Absolutely.
Both when we're starting new friendships.
Right.
And when we're looking at the ones we already have. Now let's flip it around.
Okay, let's look at the other side of the coin.
What are those red flags?
Yeah.
What does the source material tell us about the signs of a maybe toxic friend?
Right.
This is so important.
It is.
To protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
This is a crucial area.
For sure.
The stuff you sent lays out a bunch of big warning signs.
Okay.
One that really stands out is when a friend makes everything about themselves.
Yeah.
It's like a one-way street.
It is.
They're not there to listen or support you.
Yeah.
It's all about them.
What you're going through gets ignored.
Exactly.
Or pushed aside.
Yeah, they're not really giving you the same attention that you're giving them.
That feeling of always being the one giving and never really getting anything back can be so draining.
It could be exhausting.
And for time.
For sure.
What's another red flag to watch out for?
Well, the source material talks about drama.
Okay.
Friends who always seem to be surrounded by chaos and negativity. Oh, wow.
It can feel like you're constantly on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you always get pulled into their problems and their fights.
That sounds exhausting.
It can be really draining to be around that kind of energy all the time.
What else should we look out for?
Not respecting boundaries is a big one.
Okay.
The source material points out when a friend ignores your needs, your personal space, or your time.
It's like they don't even care.
It shows a real lack of consideration.
Yeah.
And can leave you feeling used or taken advantage of.
That feeling of your boundaries being pushed or just completely ignored is a big sign that something's not right.
It is. It's a sign that the dynamic is off.
And manipulation.
Oh, yeah. Manipulation's a huge red flag.
It's another thing to be aware of.
Absolutely.
The source material describes it as tactics they use to make you feel guilty for saying no.
Yeah. Or situations where you're always the one giving and they're always the one taking.
Yeah.
And it creates this unhealthy power imbalance.
That subtle guilt tripping can be so sneaky.
It can be really insidious and hard to recognize.
It is.
Especially at first.
And finally, the source material talks about something that's like the foundation of any good connection.
Okay.
Trust.
Yeah.
When there's not enough trust, that's a major sign.
According to the material.
Of a toxic friendship.
Right.
If you can't talk to a friend without being judged or worrying that they'll gossip about you, that essential part of a healthy friendship just isn't there.
That foundation of trust is so essential.
Seeing these warning signs is the first step. But what can we actually do?
Yeah, what practical steps can we take?
To build a good, supportive group of friends.
Well, the source material actually gives us some really concrete advice.
Okay.
And the first one is pretty powerful.
Okay.
Try to be the kind of friend you'd want to have. Right. If you value honesty, kindness, support, really try to live those qualities when you're interacting with others.
Yeah.
It all starts with setting a good example.
That makes so much sense.
I think so.
It's like putting that positive energy out there and drawing in similar people.
Absolutely. Like attracts, like...
What's another thing we could do?
Well, the source suggests putting yourself in places where you're likely to meet people who are like you.
Right.
This could mean joining clubs that focus on your hobbies, volunteering for causes you care about, or going to events that align with your interests.
That's a good idea.
These are all places where it's natural to connect with people.
So it's about actively looking for places where your values and interests overlap with other people's.
Right.
Once those connections start to form, how do we keep them strong?
Yeah. How do we make them last? Setting clear boundaries is really important.
Okay.
Healthy friendships need mutual respect. And setting boundaries makes sure that everyone's needs and limits are respected. It's about being upfront about your boundaries.
Right.
And respecting other people's boundaries, too.
That's so important to keep things balanced.
It is.
And prevent resentment.
Resentment can really build up if those boundaries aren't clear.
Exactly. And finally, the source material mentions something that people often forget.
What's that?
Time.
Time, yeah.
When it comes to building friendships.
It's so true.
Yeah.
The source material says, don't try to rush friendships.
Okay.
Real connections.
Yeah.
Grow naturally over time.
Yeah.
Give those relationships space.
Right.
And time to get stronger.
Okay.
Don't force things.
Don't put too much pressure on them.
Yeah. Don't have unrealistic expectations too early on.
These all feel like really useful things we can do.
They're really practical tips that we can actually use in our lives.
To wrap up our deep dive
into
this material about friendships, What are the big takeaways for you?
Well, the biggest thing for me is the difference between friendships that lift us up and support us and make our lives better with honesty and joy and those that drain our energy and maybe even involve manipulation or disrespect.
Exactly.
The source material really emphasizes how important it is to be thoughtful about who we choose to be close to.
It's like we need to take charge
do?
of our social lives.
Yeah.
And realize how big an impact these relationships have on us.
Exactly. They have a huge impact on our overall well-being.
The source ends on a really important note.
Yeah.
About protecting our energy.
It does.
It's so important.
It is. We have to be mindful of where we're putting our energy.
By understanding the qualities of good friendships and the warning signs of bad ones.
Right.
We can make better choices.
Absolutely.
And build relationships that truly contribute to a happier, healthier life.
Exactly.
So as you think about everything we've talked about, the qualities of good friends, the red flags, and what you can do to make your connections stronger.
Right.
Here's something to consider.
Okay.
What's one small thing you can do today?
Yeah.
Maybe it's reaching out to a friend who brings you joy.
Yeah.
Or taking a step back from a relationship that always leaves you feeling drained.
Yeah, that's a really important point.
It's about taking what we've learned.
Absolutely.
And actually using it in our own lives.
Exactly, putting it into practice.
To make our friendships the best they can be.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
I think so too.
It's been a great conversation.
It really has.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
See you next time.